LPBW, fans change feelings about Matt Roloff and Chris Bromance. For over a decade, Little People of America has captivated audiences with its blend of drama, family dynamics, and emotional storytelling. Among the show's most enduring storylines was the relationship between Matt Roloff, the patriarch of the Roloff family, and his son-in-law Chris Masters, who married Matt's daughter, Amy Roloff. The bond between Matt and Chris evolved from a seemingly warm father-son relationship to one marred by tension, betrayal, and ultimately divorce. Over time, fan opinions about their once celebrated bromance has shifted dramatically. Initially, viewers were charmed by the idea of Chris, a non-disabled man, marrying into the Roloff family and becoming an integral part of their lives. Matt, who had spent years advocating for disability rights and raising awareness through his memoirs and public appearances, appeared to embrace Chris as both a son and a partner in promoting the family brand. However, as the seasons progressed and behind-the-scenes conflicts surfaced, fans began to question whether the relationship was ever genuine or simply a carefully curated narrative designed to maintain the show's appeal. This article explores how fan perceptions of Matt Roloff and Chris Masters' bromance have changed over time, examining key turning points, emotional betrayals, and the impact of reality television's often blurred line between authenticity and entertainment. When Chris Masters first entered the Roloff family fold, he was portrayed as the ideal son-in-law, supportive, loving, and fully committed to Amy and her family. His relationship with Matt Roloff seemed particularly strong, with the two bonding over farming, business ventures, and shared experiences on the family's Oregon farm. Viewers were led to believe that Chris had not only won Amy's heart, but also become a trusted confidant and business partner to Matt. During this early phase of the show, the bromance between Matt and Chris was highlighted in numerous episodes. They were seen working side by side, sharing laughs, and even traveling together. For many fans, it was heartwarming to see a non-disabled individual so seamlessly integrate into the lives of a disabled family, especially given the challenges they faced due to dwarfism. It reinforced the idea that love and commitment could transcend physical differences. Social media buzzed with praise for Chris, with many viewers calling him the perfect son-in-law and applauding Matt for accepting him so openly. At the time, the Roloff Masters union was viewed as a testament to family unity and mutual respect. Even after Amy and Chris had a child, Jackson, the family dynamic appeared stable and loving. As with most reality shows, conflict eventually became central to the Roloff storyline. While early seasons focused on happy moments and family milestones, later seasons began revealing cracks in the foundation of the family relationships, particularly between Chris and the Roloffs. One of the earliest signs of trouble came when tensions arose over financial decisions related to the farm. Reports emerged that Chris and Amy were living rent-free in a house owned by Matt and Peggy Roloff while struggling financially. This arrangement, which was presented as temporary, stretched on for years and reportedly caused friction within the family. Fans began noticing subtle shifts in body language and tone during interactions between Matt and Chris. What once seemed like a close friendship now appeared strained. Some viewers speculated that Chris was taking advantage of the Roloff's generosity, while others sympathized with him, pointing out the unique challenges of raising a child with dwarfism. The situation escalated further when rumors of infidelity surfaced involving Chris. Though never officially confirmed by the couple, these allegations were enough to shake public confidence in the marriage and, by extension, the relationship between Chris and Matt. Previously supportive fans began questioning whether Chris had been dishonest all along, casting doubt on the authenticity of the earlier bromance. In 2016, Amy and Chris announced their separation, shocking longtime fans who had followed their journey since the beginning of the series. The divorce proceedings brought a flood of new information to light, including claims that Chris had been unfaithful, emotionally abusive, and financially irresponsible. Matt Roloff, who had previously remained neutral in public statements, became increasingly critical of Chris during interviews and on social media. He accused Chris of manipulating the family and exploiting their name for personal gain. These comments marked a dramatic shift from the earlier portrayal of their relationship, leading fans to reevaluate everything they thought they knew. Many supporters of the Roloff family turned against Chris, citing his alleged actions as a betrayal of trust. Others, however, argued that the Roloffs were exaggerating the situation to protect their image and control the narrative. This divide among fans reflected the complexity of real-life relationships being played out under the spotlight of reality TV. The fallout also affected Amy's public image. Once seen as a devoted wife and mother, she was now caught in the middle of a very public divorce, with fans choosing sides based on limited information. The once beloved bromance between Matt and Chris became a cautionary tale about how quickly admiration can turn to disdain when personal relationships are exposed to mass scrutiny. With the benefit of hindsight, many fans have revisited older episodes of looking for clues about the eventual breakdown of Chris and Amy's marriage and the deterioration of Chris' relationship with Matt. In doing so, some viewers have come to believe that the initial portrayal of Chris was overly sanitized, painting him as a model son-in-law without showing the full complexity of his character. Reality television is known for its editing techniques, which can shape viewer perception by highlighting certain moments while omitting others. Critics argue that the show may have downplayed early warning signs in order to preserve the feel-good narrative of the Roloff family's success. As more details emerged post-divorce, fans began to interpret past scenes differently, seeing tension where they once saw camaraderie and manipulation where they once saw affection. This reinterpretation has led to broader discussions about the ethics of reality TV and the responsibility of producers to present accurate portrayals of real-life events. Some fans feel misled by the earlier depiction of Chris and Matt's relationship, while others acknowledge that human relationships are rarely black and white, and that people can change over time. In the years following the divorce, both Chris and Amy have moved on with their lives. Chris remarried and started a new family, while Amy found happiness with a new partner and continued to advocate for dwarfism awareness. Matt Roloff, now semi-retired, has maintained a presence on social media and occasionally appears on the show, though his role has diminished. Despite moving forward personally, the legacy of the Roloff Masters relationship continues to influence fan discussions. On forums, Reddit threads, and fan pages, debates rage over who was truly at fault and whether either party deserves sympathy. Some fans still hold resentment toward Chris, viewing him as a manipulative figure who took advantage of the Roloffs. Others have softened their stance, recognizing that marriages are complicated and that no one is entirely blameless. Interestingly, some fans have expressed a renewed appreciation for Matt Roloff's perspective, acknowledging the difficulty of navigating such a high-profile family crisis. His openness about the pain of watching his daughter go through a difficult divorce and feeling betrayed by someone he once considered a son has resonated with many viewers. Ultimately, the changing feelings of fans regarding Matt Roloff and Chris Masters' bromance reflect the evolving nature of reality television itself. What begins as a compelling narrative of love and acceptance can unravel into something far more complex when real-life emotions and consequences come into play. The initial warmth between Matt and Chris was undeniably appealing to audiences, offering a rare glimpse into a cross-disability family bond. But as the truth behind the facade came to light, fans were forced to confront uncomfortable realities about trust, loyalty, and the toll of public scrutiny. While some fans remain divided, the majority have shifted their support back to the Roloff family, particularly Matt and Amy. The once idyllic bromance is now remembered as a cautionary tale, one that highlights the fragility of relationships when fame, money, and family ties collide. As Little People of America continues to evolve, the story of Matt and Chris serves as a reminder that not everything on reality TV is as it seems, and that sometimes the most compelling drama lies not in what's shown on screen, but in what happens long. Roloff just hanging with Big Bro Jackson. It was a crisp spring afternoon on the sprawling Roloff family farm in Hillsboro, Oregon. The sun hung lazily in the sky, casting a golden glow over the lush green fields and rustic barns that had become iconic through years of Little People, Big World television episodes. Life on the Roloff farm was always bustling, but today felt particularly peaceful, like the kind of day meant for slowing down, enjoying family, and making memories. Joshua Roloff, the youngest of the Roloff siblings at just 21 years old, had spent most of the morning tinkering with his truck. He wasn't sure what he wanted to do long-term yet, but one thing was certain: he loved working with his hands, especially when it came to cars. His older brother Jackson, 24 at the time, had stopped by to lend a hand, or maybe just to hang out and catch up. Jackson, who stood at 4 feet tall due to dwarfism, had always been a steady presence in Joshua's life. Though they were only 3 years apart in age, their bond went deeper than just siblinghood. They shared a unique understanding, forged through growing up in the public eye, navigating both the perks and pitfalls of fame, and supporting each other through life's ups and downs. Today, though, there were no cameras rolling, no scripts, no interviews or production crews lurking around the corner. It was just two brothers, spending an easygoing afternoon together like any other pair of siblings might, except with a little more height difference than usual. Joshua wiped grease off his hands with a rag as Jackson leaned against the open hood of the truck, watching him work. "You ever think about fixing up something like this?" Joshua asked, nodding toward the engine. Jackson smirked. "You mean like actually learning how to do this stuff?" "Yeah," Joshua said, tossing the rag aside. "I know you've got your own business now, but you still love cars." Jackson nodded thoughtfully. He had recently launched his own venture called a company focused on creating adaptive outdoor gear for people with disabilities. It was something he was incredibly passionate about. But he did miss the days when he used to tinker with engines and build things with his hands. "I think I'd like that," Jackson admitted. "Maybe we can pick up a project car sometime." Joshua grinned. "That'd be awesome. We could restore something vintage, maybe even race it someday." The idea made them both laugh. It was the kind of wild dream that brothers cooked up while sprawled out in a garage, surrounded by tools and possibilities. They eventually wandered over to the backyard, where a fire pit sat nestled between a few wooden benches. Joshua grabbed a couple of cold drinks from the fridge, and they settled in for a much-needed break. There was a comfortable silence between them for a moment before Jackson spoke. "You know, I really miss this," he said quietly. Joshua looked over. "Missed what?" "Just hanging out like this. Without everything else going on, it feels good." Joshua nodded. He knew exactly what Jackson meant. Between their respective lives, Joshua still figuring out his path, Jackson running his business, and occasionally doing speaking engagements, it wasn't often that they got to just be together like this. Their childhood had been anything but ordinary. Growing up with dwarfism in a world built for taller people came with its own set of challenges, and being part of a reality TV show added another layer of complexity. There were moments of joy, yes, but also plenty of scrutiny, pressure, and expectations. But here, in the quiet of the afternoon, none of that mattered. It was just them. "I remember when we used to sneak out onto the roof at night," Joshua said, suddenly grinning. Jackson chuckled. "Oh man, yeah. Mom nearly had a heart attack when she found us up there one time. She thought we were going to fall off or something," Joshua laughed. "But we were fine, and honestly, it was the best spot to see the stars." Jackson smiled, eyes distant with memory. "Those were some of my favorite nights. Just lying there, talking about everything and nothing." There was a pause, then Joshua added, "Do you ever think about those days? Like, really think about them?" Jackson nodded slowly. "Sometimes. Especially when I'm feeling stuck or overwhelmed. It helps to remember how simple things used to be." Joshua leaned back on the bench, stretching his legs out in front of him. "I think that's why I like working on cars so much. It keeps me grounded. I don't have to worry about anything else when I'm under the hood. It's just me and the machine." Jackson smiled. "That makes sense. For me, it's building stuff. When I'm designing something new for Jackstivity, I get so wrapped up in it that everything else fades away. That's cool, Joja said. I'm proud of you, by the way. What you're doing, it matters. Jackson looked genuinely touched. Thanks, man. That means a lot. For a moment, neither of them spoke. They just sat there, sipping their drinks and soaking in the warmth of the sun and the comfort of each other's company. Eventually, Joja broke the silence. You know what we should do? Go camping, just the two of us, no phones, no distractions, just us and nature. Jackson raised an eyebrow. Camping? You serious? Dead serious, Joja said. We'll pack up the truck, grab a tent, and head somewhere remote. No one knows where we are. Just us and the wilderness. Jackson considered it for a moment, then smiled. I'm in, but you better not snore. Oh, I definitely snore, Joja joked. Get ready for a symphony of snores every night. They both laughed, the sound echoing across the yard. After a while, they decided to take a walk around the property. The Roloff farm was massive, with acres of land, orchards, and trails winding through the trees. It was the perfect place to clear your head. As they walked, they passed by the old barn where Matt and Amy Roloff used to store their antique tractors. Now it served more as a storage unit and occasional workshop space. I used to spend hours in here when I was a kid, Jackson said, peering inside. So did I, Joja replied. Remember when Dad taught us how to fix that old lawnmower? How could I forget? I almost lost a finger, Joja laughed. You screamed louder than I did when I dropped a wrench on my foot. Jackson rolled his eyes. Okay, that's not true. It kinda is, Joja teased. They continued walking, passing by the chicken coop and the old tire swing that had long since seen better days. This place has so many memories, Jackson said softly. Yeah, Joja agreed. It's weird how fast everything changes. But I guess that's just life. They reached the edge of the property where the forest began. The trees swayed gently in the breeze, and birds chirped overhead. Jackson turned to Joja. Thanks for today. I needed this. Joja gave him a small smile. Me too, we should do it more often. Jackson nodded. Absolutely. They stood there for a while, side by side, looking out over the land that had shaped so much of their lives. Brothers, friends, confidants, partners in mischief and in life. And for once, there were no cameras, no script, no direction, just two brothers hanging